Alrighty, so hello everybody. My name is Bree Pierce, and this is Sycamore Safe Zone Level 1. Thank you all for registering. Before we get started, I like to do the land acknowledgement because we are in Terre Haute and programming is so important that we want to pay respects to the land that we are on. So I like to give a few seconds of silence for this. Alrighty. So, with this, since we're virtual, I don't get to know y'all as well as I would have been if we were in person. But due to COVID, we had to change things up a little bit. So, hi, my name's Bree, and I love doing Sycamore Safe Zone. This is my fourth year doing it. I'm the coordinator here at NES State. I'm at the Office of Multicultural Services and Programs. We are on the seventh floor of HMSU, but due to it being gross and cold outside, I am working remotely this week. So that's why you see a stuffed animal right next to me. Yay. And I am a senior here, and I'm going to be transferring to do my master's soon here at NES State, thankfully. And I am just very excited to get to know all y'all. And for the pictures, I just include my flags and pictures of animals because who doesn't love animals? Alrighty. So, since we are in a smaller group, this works out really easily. It is up to you how you would like to uh, introduce yourself. Let me stop recording for a hot second. Alrighty. So, what are we going to be doing here? So, this is our little short little blurb of what level 1 means. So, we're going to be learning about what it means to be in Sycamore Safe Zone, what it means for y'all to register for this event, what it means to be an ally. We have a video that talks more about it. And then we're going to be learning about terminology, pronouns, and symbols, and a small activity at the end to get more insight. Alrighty, group agreement. This is just really important to me since we are talking about different topics, and I want everyone to know that it's a respectful and open space. If people share different ideas with each other, that is okay as long as we take care to claim our own opinions and being nice to one another, I think that's the most important. And then confidentiality, we're not going to share that around with everyone because that's not what we're doing that for. And then just having a good time. This is a great program, and I think it's really interesting with a fun topic to talk about. Alrighty. So, Sycamore Safe Zone, what is it? So, for the majority of ISU, if you walk around in it, sometimes we have some distant learners, so they have not seen the campus so far. But some of us, we go around campus and we see rainbow flags, we see the word Sycamore Safe Zone all around, and we want to know what does that mean. So it means that those individuals who has those placards and the signs on their windows or on their doors means that they have been certified through this program and they are more of an educated individual that took time out of their days and weeks to learn about this community. And for individuals who are on campus, they are able to see that person with that sign, that with that window cling, and know that they are certified. They know about their different identities and they know that they will spread confidentiality. So that is basically what Sycamore Safe Zone is in a little blurb. So first, I always have my slideshows for our reading learners. So if anyone is a listening learner, y'all can just talk along with me. If you're a reading learner, there is definitions right here for you to look at. And before we go on the video, is there any term on this definition that might be a little confusing or you have never heard about before? That is okay if you do. Okay, awesome. I always got to double check because I know the definition, it has a lot of big words. So let me get our YouTube video up. Let me do this. Press pause. No, wait. And did y'all hear that? This is one thing I'm really not the best at. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. So, a disclaimer, this video is about 6 years old, so some of the statistics are a little outdated, but I think the whole video in general is very helpful.
And I don't know if it's
Can y'all
working,
hear
but
that?
you will deal. Imagine your friend is building a house and they ask you to help, but you've never built a house before. So it'd probably be a good idea for you to put on some protective gear and listen to the person in charge. Otherwise, someone's gonna get seriously hurt. Look, I'm helping! It's the exact same idea when it comes to being an ally. An ally is a person that wants to fight for the equality of a marginalized group that they're not a part of. We need your help building this house, but you probably should listen so you know what to do first. Let's do this. So here are my 5 tips for being a good ally. Understand your privilege. Now, a lot of people get hung up on the word privilege, so let me break it down for you nice and easy. Privilege does not mean that you are rich, that you've had an easy life, that everything's been handed to you and you've never had to struggle or work hard. All it means is that there are some things in life that you will not experience or ever have to think about just because of who you are. It's kind of like those horses that have those blinders on. They can see just fine. There's just a whole bunch of stuff on the side that they don't even know exists. So for example, there are currently 29 states where you can legally be fired for being gay, and there are 34 states where you can legally be fired for being trans. Now, as a straight cis woman, those are things that I don't have to ever think about if I don't want to. I'm not gonna be fired because I'm straight, and I'm not gonna be fired because I am cis. So it makes sense that before I can fight for the rights of others, I have to understand what rights I have and others don't. That's privilege. Listen and do your homework. It sounds like a no-brainer, but it's not possible for you to learn if you aren't willing to listen. So you gotta know when to zippa the lippa. I don't know. You get what I mean. But that's the thing that's so cool about social media. There are so many people sharing their stories all around the world and connecting with people that they normally would never get a chance to without the power of the internet. So do your homework. Start reading blogs, tweets, news articles, and stories so that you can get caught up on the issues that are important to the communities that you want to support. Speak up, but not over. If the Fight for Equality was a girl group, the ally wouldn't be the lead singer or the second lead singer. They'd be Michelle. An ally's job is to support. You want to make sure that you use your privilege and your voice to educate others, but make sure to do it in such a way that does not speak over the community members that you're trying to support or take credit for things that they are already saying. This isn't Mario Kart. Stay in your lane. Realize that you're gonna make mistakes and apologize when you do. Nobody's perfect. Unlearning problematic things takes time and work, so you are bound to mess up and trip and fall. Okay. But don't worry, you can brush yourself off and get right back up. I'm back up! Just remember that it's not about your intent, it's about your impact. So when you get called out, make sure to listen, apologize, commit to changing your behavior, and move forward. Last but certainly not least, actually the most important thing on this list, is remember that ally is a verb. Saying you're an ally is not enough. You gotta do the work. 1 through 4. 1 through 4.
Alrighty. Let me go back to this. Alrighty. So, again, the statistics were a little off for being 6 years ago, but that just shows the progress and things that we still need to work on. So, for that, would anyone like to talk about things that they heard in that video that stood out to them? If not, that's okay too.
I really like the definition of privilege that that they specifically pointed out that it does not mean that you haven't struggled or had difficult things in your life. It just means that you um, are sort of unaware or maybe shielded from certain experiences that other people have.
Right, and I appreciate you sharing that because yeah, there is a lot of people, especially anymore when the word privilege comes out, people are like, "Oh, I've struggled too," and that's not what we're meaning. We're just trying to say that there are specific things that like I have experienced that maybe Zach hasn't, or some things that Zach has experienced, but Diane hasn't. It's all of that type of stuff, and I think it's really important to highlight. Anyone else? I think it has a lot of different really cool stuff in it.
I just think that was a great video. It just like hit really great points. And I think even though it's 6 years old, it's extremely relevant. It's just a really good um, video. I think it was awesome.
Thank you. And I'm glad you liked it because yeah, I've when I used to use it a lot like in person, a lot of people would be like, "Those statistics are still relevant." I'm like, not exactly, but it still shows that 6 years ago there has been a lot of stuff, and there are still states to this day that LGBT individuals can get fired. Just probably not as much as it was back then because workplace uh the workplace laws have been into effect. But sometimes, somewhere, there are places that do not follow them.
Right. The statistics might have changed, but the topics, the ways you can be involved definitely are still on point. I think the way she was hitting things were really nice. I think she kept it funny. I think the video is still really good.
Exactly.
The statistics have changed, but I think but still, the fact that you still can be fired in some states that are still a little
Right.
bit backward is really sad.
Exactly. And I appreciate you saying that too because I think she's very funny and like I'm definitely a visual person and seeing that picture of the horse with the blinders made a lot of sense to me because I grew up in a small rural town that had horses and cattle everywhere. So it made sense to me. Anything else before we move on? Alrighty. So, again, for our visual people, definitions, fun stuff. But you are not required to read any of this because this is just for the people who like clear cut definitions. So, I usually use this portion to talk about different identities that maybe you have heard of, but you need some more clarification on, or just talking about just identities in general. Does anyone have any questions? So I always want to talk about what's the identity? I always talk about an identity that is basically like the ones that were like born this way. It is the individuals who were born with both male and female genitalia. It's I'm trying to think of the term.
Intersex?
Intersex. Thank you, Zach. It
Welcome.
totally popped out of my head, but so intersex individuals, this is really important to talk about because it, especially in today's society, a lot of people who were born intersex, they have came out and talked about their experience when most of the time when intersex children are born, basically the parents and the doctor decide to dissect the child essentially what I mean by that is if the parents want the child to be female, they take out the internal testes or the other male anatomy in that child, or vice versa. If they want the child to be male, they take out like the breast buds, they take out the internal uterus, whatever the child was born with of the female anatomy. And I always talk about that a lot because they do not get talked about enough. And I think just it's horrific. I I hate even thinking about it because like for intersex individuals, they can develop properly with all the organs in them. There is no reason for them to be dissected like that. I always had to bring that up because intersex awareness is very, very relevant. Alrighty. So a little bit more like a little game essentially. I use this portion as. So these are definitely not all the flags within the LGBTQ plus community, but these are the main 8 that you see that maybe people have them on their lanyards, people have them on buttons, people have them on hats. And I think it's important to learn about them and see their definition of them. So, who does anyone have an idea on what this one represents? The top left one. Yeah, Diane.
Is it the bisexual flag?
Perfect. This is the bisexual flag. The way I see it is as I like to coordinate colors. Pink for girl, blue for boy, purple for everyone in between. Because bisexuality, people always get held up on the term bi, meaning two, when that's not the case. Bisexuality is people who are attracted to more than two genders. So someone could be like bisexual in a relationship with a trans individual, a non-binary individual, etc., etc. And I always bring that up because it's a lot of controversy with people trying to downgrade the bisexual identity. All right. Anyone have a guess on this one? Did you say it? Or
The gay pride flag.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, so there is multiple pride flags, but this one I use it because it has the story behind it. This one is the 1980s AIDS epidemic pride flag, where in the 80s, AIDS was going around and gay men were basically discriminated against because they were thought of as the individuals who are spreading AIDS, which is not the case at all. And I like this flag a lot because this was flown like to show that the gay men were proud of who they were no matter what was going on. And I just like the story behind it. And also there's another one that's very close to this that has a triangle with black, brown, pink, and blue that encompasses the trans individuals and the people of color because it's our inclusive flag, the one that ties in the communities that gets looked down upon most. Anyone have an idea on this one?
Is
Yeah,
that the
Zach?
pansexual flag?
Yeah. So pansexuality, like I said, when I was talking about bisexuality, pansexuality is again a more fluid of the sexualities because again, for our color people, pink for girl, blue for boy, yellow for everyone in between. So pansexuality is more of the uh, up and coming term that people use more often as a lot of people have been having trouble with the bisexual identity. So the pansexual identity is very close. I say they're sister identities because they are similar, but they're not the same because people have just a specific uh, closeness to a specific identity. It's like I choose to, I'm more close to pansexuality, while one of my friends connects to bisexuality more. They're very similar and people have different connections to them. So, anyone have a idea of what this one is? If not, that's okay. So, oh,
Oh, my daughter just came over and was like, "This is this, this is this, this is this, this is
that's
this," and then
awesome!
she just ran away. And I'm like, "I don't remember what you just said." So
Well, tell them that I said congratulations because that's awesome.
yeah, but she's pretty good at all that stuff. She's pretty
Cool.
awesome.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. But I mean, they might have said that this one is the asexual flag.
That is what she said. That's what.
So I always think of sexuality as spectrums because it's easier for us to uh, visualize. So for sexuality, I always see like gay on one side, straight on the other, and bisexual, pansexual, fluid identities are like very, very fluid on the spectrum. And then on the sexual preference um uh spectrum, it is like hypersexual right here, so people who like have sexual attraction all the time. Then asexuality on this end, people who experience little to no sexual attraction. And then in the middle, the fluid identity is called demi. Demi is the identity that experiences sexual attraction depending on circumstance because people are always like asexuals are practicing celibacy, which is not the fact. It's they just do not experience sexual attraction as other people do. Alrighty. Now, since we went through sexuality, there's a few on gender identity. So, anyone have an idea on what this one is? So, this one right here is the gender fluid flag. So, again, with the spectrums, male on one side, female on the other. Gender fluid is like the fluid one. So, they can feel connected to masculinity, femininity. They do not need a specific label to their gender. That's how I think of it. And then this one is the counter side of it. This one is the non binary flag. So on the spectrum, they do not fit on the spectrum because they do not feel connected with femininity, masculinity, male, female. They might have connection to different gender expressions, but in their heart, they know that they're not male, female. So they are the ones that normally uses the they them pronoun. And anyone have a guess on this one?
Is that the lesbian flag?
Yeah. This is the lesbian flag. So, this is the overall lesbian flag, as there are multiple different variations of different flags for different identities. As like for lesbians, there's another flag for more feminine lesbians, and another one for more butch or masculine lesbians, while there's another one for gay men who are the more femme or the more masculine gay men as well. Yeah, thank you. And our last one.
The transgender flag.
Yeah, thank you. So trans, again with the colors, I see blue for boy, pink for girl, white for who they truly are. So for transgender individuals, they are essentially born in the wrong body. That's how I see it because for someone who is a trans female, they were born male, but know in their heart they are female, or a trans male, they were born female, but know in their heart that they are male. Yeah. So, uh, these are the main eight that you see most often, but are there any flags that you know of that you're a little confused about that you've seen around, but you don't know what it means? I normally use this time to bring up that, and we can Google search it together. Alrighty. Pronouns. So this is really, really important because a lot lately people have been putting pronouns in their email handles or in their social media bios. And I think that's really awesome to just share that pronouns are in a like regular conversation. It's like when I meet new people, I want to make them know that I am comfortable with pronouns and I want to make sure that they are able to share their pronouns if they are comfortable. It's like I do a mirroring effect. So I'm like, "Hi, my name's Bree Pierce. My pronouns are she, her." And another person's like, "Hi, my name's so and so. I use they, them pronouns." And then I know, okay, I want to make sure to use they, them pronouns to respect them in the best way possible. And that's my tip on pronouns as like uh, again with the video that we watched, if you mess up, that is okay as long as you apologize and make an effort to change your action. So if you mispronounce someone, that is okay as long as you try and learn their pronouns. So if someone just came out as transgender and you are used to calling them he him pronouns and now she uses she her pronouns, if you use he him, just apologize and correct the behavior as they know that it's a little bit difficult, but if you make an action to learn, they will see that and they will be grateful. Yeah. And for level one, I always go over the main four that you see most often because there are a lot of pronouns out there, but we do not have that much time, and I do not have the knowledge for that specific topic. I have the knowledge for these, but I don't want to get ahead myself and give y'all wrong information because I am human and I am no way, shape, or form a expert on any of this as we're all learning together. Does anyone have any questions about pronouns? I like this little doodle because it gives little examples on how to use it, each pronoun, and I appreciate the they them pronoun in this specific uh, uh, block. It is using they them as a singular pronoun, as some non-binary individuals use the they them pronoun and a lot of people still recognize that it's a plural pronoun, but in reality, it is both a singular and plural. That's how I see it, anyway. Alrighty. Activity time. Good job, y'all. We are almost done. Alrighty. So, I do activities to tie things in a little bit just to make sure everyone is understanding things and making sure that we can just have more discussions as the best part to me of Sycamore Safe Zone is discussions. So, for our next 5 minutes, I will have y'all just look at this list, pick out the 3 most things that stand out the most to you. And I'm just wanting everyone to know it's supposed to be vague so everyone is able to learn about different privileges that we might have not thought about. So I am gonna mute myself, pause the recording, and in 5 minutes we are gonna come back and discuss about what stood out to us most on this list. Alrighty. So the first thing that I think it's really important to talk about is that what is y'all's feelings about this activity? If y'all would like to share.
I think it certainly makes you realize all the things you take for granted just day to day, especially like some of the really simple things like using the restroom or being able to converse with your family and friends about your relationships, your feelings, that kind of thing.
Definitely. Thank you.
Mhm.
Diane, you're unmuted?
Yeah. Well, my daughter is a lesbian, and she and I were talking just the other day about how, um, she wants to just be able to hold her girlfriend's hand in public and without having, people say things or give them dirty looks or whatever. And it just that particular point really resonated with me because I've seen that happen when I've been with them, and it's really disappointing to see that. And I hate that they have to go through that.
I appreciate you sharing that, as personal experience is always the best thing to open our minds about these different situations for sure. And I appreciate you sharing that about your daughter. And the one thing I could say is hopefully one day people will become more educated. That's how I think of it. You know.
I was going through and reading it and thinking, hi Willa. Um, Being from New England and just being new to the Midwest, and it's being COVID time, so I don't really know. We moved here in the midsummer, so not really going out in public. I don't know how things are here really, and it's just been so limited. So, but in New England, it's we like to think that we're pretty progressive out there and pretty welcoming to the LGBTQ community. Well, at least to the LGBT community, I think, because I was reading through the list and I was like, I don't really see a lot of these as being as big of an issue. Once again, being cisgender, I have privilege, I don't see it that way, but I have a lot of friends in the community. And so I don't feel as though like it's that. I think we're pretty progressive in New England and very welcoming. And I don't see as many of those issues. But then I was like reading like through this list and I'm like, to the transgender community, even in New England, think about the bathroom laws, like, oh, I don't want those transgenders going into my bathrooms. And I'm like, you know what? They're going into the bathroom. They're not going in there to molest your children or to rape your wives. They're literally going to the bathroom. They just want to go to the bathroom like you want to go to, And so then I'm started thinking, I'm like, well, maybe they're not as open-minded behind closed doors as I like to think, just because I am and my family is, and in my world, my community, my like-minded friends, we are, maybe the wider public behind closed doors isn't. um so it started making me think about that, and again, checking my privilege, like, oh well, maybe it isn't. And then hearing Diane talk about how she's seen people treating her daughter, and I assume that they're from this area. And it's like, well, it's just really sad I don't know, just it just really, that's why I want to get more involved with these kind of things, because the way people treat people that are different really, really affects me, and it really makes me sad. So
I
I don't know.
I
It's just, it's 2021. It's like, it's time to move on. People are different. Even cisgender people are different. Every human is a little bit different. Let's get over ourselves and let's move on. It's just,
exactly
who cares?
exactly.
It's so silly.
I appreciate you saying
Ugh.
that as yeah, welcome to the Midwest. It's insane here. Welcome. You're gonna learn a lot about humanity here.
Mm.
It's lovely. And like I appreciate you sharing that because like I like to think about different areas that does not have these issues as a main issue that is happening all the time. As growing up in a small town, this happens to a lot of people, unfortunately, in the Midwest, where a lot of people just do not want to educate themselves about this community. They do not want to get out of the singular mindset, which is very, very unfortunate. And that's why this activity is so important to me, is because we can all see some different things that we really, really want to see change in our life. And with this specific activity, when we were in person, I would pass out different amounts of Monopoly monies because the difference of individuals who had $200 versus $500, it brings it up the discussion of where you are, your walk of life. If you're in a more wealthy community, more open minded community, you will be able to maybe fight easier for these privileges other than someone in a small closed minded community. Maybe they are in a lower class background, maybe they're in a uh, minority race in that specific community. That is different ties I do on this activity, but since we're virtual, I like to do it this way so we can have an open discussion about it. And I think it works really well for this group. So I really appreciate that. And yeah, once I will definitely send y'all the link to this because I think it's really awesome just to talk about with our friends and families, just to think about the different things we could possibly not have in our life depending on our circumstances. Okay. And so this is a little bit different since we're online, but this is a personal pledge to you. So if you want to continue to learn more about the community, if you want to start educating others, if you want to start standing up to homophobia and heterosexism, we this is just a personal pledge to yourself as like keeping yourself accountable. If you hear someone say different slurs that are really, really negative in the community, like definitely mental note it or talk about it. It is definitely on how comfortable you are about it because people need to realize allyship does not have a specific code. As if you are more of uh, a very, very in, in uh, introverted person that does not like to talk to people because people are scary sometimes, that is okay. Or if you're a very extroverted person and you want to talk to everyone about this, that is okay. You can work throughout that whole situation depending on your comfortability as any allyship is what we need. If you're online, do that stuff. If you want to go to marches when it's not COVID, yes. I mean, virtual marches are fantastic too. I've learned a lot about that. Or if you go to in-person marches, mask up and just stay stay away from people. Because allyship it still needs to happen and even in a scary world situation. So that is it. So let me stop sharing. So that is Sycamore Safe Zone Level 1. I know we've gathered a lot of information, and I know we just went over the top of the iceberg, but in levels 2 and level 3, we get more in depth. We're going to be talking about the history of LGBT folk. We're going to be talking about stereotypes. We're going to be talking about the coming out process that individuals face when they come out. All of that different subjects we're going to be talking about in level 2. And I'm really excited to work with y'all in level 2 and level 3. And even if it might be my other facilitators, I know y'all will enjoy it. So any questions before we head off on to our next adventure of the day? Yeah. Well, hey y'all, I appreciate y'all attending. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to email me. And probably by Wednesday, I will be emailing y'all your level 1 completion certificates and a survey so you all can possibly earn some more LGBT goodies and stuff. I like to give away stickers and flags and stuff, but you know. So I will see y'all later. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for hosting.
And thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.